Death is inevitable, and often it comes at the most unexpected times. When you are a successful NBA player, you don't think about the consequences of death while you're playing the game you love. In today's video, we're gonna discuss 5 NBA players who died in the middle of their prime. The first player on this list is Reggie Lewis. Lewis was an NBA All-Star for the Boston Celtics in 1992, just one season before his death. Lewis had just come off of his best season, averaging a career-high 20.8 points and 3.7 assists per game. It was the 1993 NBA playoffs, and the Celtics were facing the Charlotte Hornets when Lewis suddenly collapsed on the court and remained on the ground for several seconds. He was able to return to the game, but was pulled out due to dizziness and shortness of breath. He checked into New England Baptist Hospital and underwent a series of tests by multiple cardiovascular specialists. Lewis was diagnosed with focal cardiomyopathy, a disease of the heart muscle that can cause irregular heartbeat and heart failure. When Lewis was given this devastating news, he was told that it would be career-ending. Not wanting to retire from professional basketball, he sought a second opinion. He went to Dr. Gilbert Mudge at Brigham and Women's Hospital, who diagnosed Lewis with neurocardiogenic syncope, which was a less serious, non-fatal condition. After hearing that news, Lewis began to work out in preparation for the 1994 season. Mudge never authorized Lewis to resume his training, however. On July 27, 1993, during an off-season practice, Lewis suffered a sudden cardiac death on the court at the age of 27 years old. Police officers who were on the property attempted to revive Lewis with mouth-to-mouth, but they were unsuccessful. His death was attributed to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a structural heart defect that is the most common cause of death in young athletes. Many people speculated that large use of cocaine is what causes heart problems, as the NBA had a massive problem at the time with players abusing drugs. However, no evidence was found to prove this.
Stop it. Get some help.
The Boston Celtics retired Lewis's number 35 jersey, and the Reggie Lewis Track and Athletics Center was opened in Boston, which was funded by Lewis himself and hosted major indoor track and field competitions. At number 2 on our list is one of the first European players to find major success in the NBA, DRAZEN Petrovic. At the time of his death, Petrovic was 3rd in the NBA in all-time three-point percentage. His game was ahead of his time, being that he was a knockdown three-point shooter in an era where shooting was not that common. Petrovic began playing his career in Croatia and joined the NBA in 1989 as a member of the Portland Trail Blazers after winning countless awards in the EuroLeague. After 2 successful seasons in Portland, Petrovic joined the New Jersey Nets and had his best season in 1993, where he was an All-Star and made the All-NBA 3rd team, with averages of 22.3 points per game, 3.5 assists per game, and 3-point percentage of 44.9%, which was unheard of at the time. He just played the best season of his life, but was contemplating leaving the Nets after the fact that they had yet to extend his contract. He traveled to Berlin to meet with the Croatian national team and listened to contract offers from European teams to consider going back to the EuroLeague. He passed away in a car accident on June 7, 1993. He was driving on the Autobahn, a famous freeway in Germany, on a rainy afternoon. He was a passenger in a car that was cut off by a semi-truck. His girlfriend was driving the car while Petrovic was asleep in the passenger seat when the accident happened. His girlfriend would be badly injured but ended up surviving, and it was later established that Petrovic was not wearing a seatbelt when the accident occurred. Many cities in Croatia began to honor Petrovic's legacy after his death. The Sabona Stadium was renamed to the DRAZEN Petrovic Basketball Hall on October 4th, 1993 to honor Petrovic. The Nets retired his number 3 jersey as well on November 11th, 1993. This death came as a huge shock to everybody. Teammate Clyde Drexler was quoted saying, "DRAZEN and I were very good friends. I was one of those people who welcomed him into Portland when he came from Europe. We talked about his family a lot in his restaurant, and he enjoyed the game of basketball. I really respect him because we worked very, very hard. Each and every day in practice, he would be the first guy to come and the last guy to leave the gym. So anybody with that kind of dedication, you have to have a lot of respect for him." Even Michael Jordan, the GOAT himself, had some nice things to say about DRAZEN. "It was a thrill to play against DRAZEN. Every time we competed, he competed with an aggressive attitude. He wasn't nervous, he came at me as hard as I came at him. We've had many great battles in the past, and unfortunately they were short battles." Coming in at number 3 is a player who died after recently signing a contract extension with his team, Eddie Griffin. Griffin was a 6'10" power forward who played for the Houston Rockets and Minnesota Timberwolves for his 6-year NBA career. A member of the all-rookie second team in 2002, Griffin averaged 7.2 points and 5.8 rebounds per game for his career. He had a lot of problems off the court, the most notable one being that he suffered from alcoholism, and his troubles piled up over the years. He was released by the Rockets in 2003 after he kept missing practices and engaging in team fights. He would sign with the Nets for the 2003 to 2004 season, but never played a game with them due to sitting out that season when he entered rehab for his alcoholism. The Timberwolves picked him up for the 2004 to 2005 season, where he posted pretty much the same stats as his prior 2 seasons, but was able to receive an extension from the Timberwolves. On March 30th, 2006, Griffin got into a severe car crash where witnesses stated that he was watching a pornographic movie on a DVD in his vehicle and was while driving. After the accident, he proceeded to enter a nearby convenience store where he was drunk and didn't even have his driver's license on him. The security camera footage on the convenience store showed Griffin begging the man whose car he hit not to call the police and that he will buy him a new car in exchange if the cops weren't involved. On August 17, 2007, Griffin got into another car crash, this time resulting in his death. The accident occurred in Houston, where Houston police reported that Griffin ignored a railroad warning and went through a barrier before getting struck by a moving train. He had more than 3 times the legal alcohol in his system when he crashed, according to the autopsy report. At the time of his death, Timberwolves coach Dwayne Casey said that he had not talked to Griffin for 6 months, but knew that he was trying to get in shape to play in Europe the following season. He was buried in Philadelphia and, at the time of his death, had a 3-year-old daughter named Anne-Marie. Griffin was the second player to die in a car crash while playing for the Timberwolves. But before we get to the first one, make sure you know that we are currently giving away a PS5 and copy of NBA 2K21. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell, and comment down below. The fourth player on our list, and the player who had a very similar death to Griffin, was Malik Sealy, a 6'8" small forward who played 8 seasons in the league for 4 different franchises. He averaged 10.3 points per game in 23.8 minutes of action. His best season came in the 1996-97 season, where he averaged 13.5 points and 1.6 steals per game as a member of the LA Clippers. He even had a brief acting career and played a major role as Stacey Patton in the 1996 motion picture Eddie, starring Whoopi Goldberg. Like Griffin and Drazen, Sealy was also killed in a car accident, which occurred in 2000 while he was a member of the Timberwolves. He was killed in Minnesota while he was driving home from a teammate Kevin Garnett's birthday celebration on May 20th, 2000. His SUV was struck by a pickup truck going the wrong way on the highway. The truck driver survived the crash with his airbags deployed, but Sealy's SUV did not have airbags. Blood tests indicate that the truck driver had been driving drunk and was given a 4-year prison term after being arrested for vehicular manslaughter. Sealy was buried at Ferncliff Cemetery in New York alongside his idol Malcolm X. The fifth and final player on our list is the most recent death to occur by a player in the NBA in the middle of their career, Bryce DeJean Jones. Jones was a 6'6" shooting guard out of Iowa State who went undrafted in the 2015 NBA draft. The New Orleans Pelicans picked him up, and in his rookie season in 2015-16, he averaged 5.6 points per game and 3.4 rebounds per game. This would unfortunately be his only season in the NBA, as he would die shortly after the conclusion of the season. Bryce was killed when he was shot after kicking open the locked front door and locked bedroom door of a Dallas apartment which he mistakenly thought belonged to his girlfriend. He was trying to visit his girlfriend, who lived 1 floor above the door he kicked down for their daughter's first birthday. The way it happened was he got into an argument with his girlfriend and left the apartment to then take a walk and calm down. When he re-entered, he went to the 3rd floor instead of the 4th floor, where the correct apartment was located. The resident of the apartment Bryce was at was already asleep, given that it was 3 a.m. So Bryce kicked the door down. The resident thought that someone had broken into his house and was intending to harm him. So he proceeded to retrieve and fire a handgun in self-defense at Bryce through the bedroom door, striking him in the abdomen. According to a report by his agent, this was the first time Bryce visited the complex, so he was unaware of where specifically his girlfriend's apartment was located. Bryce was the first active player to die since Eddie Griffin in 2007. It really is horrible to see someone go too soon, especially when they entertained so many fans like us on the basketball court and had so many people look up to them. Let us know if there are any other NBA players we failed to mention. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future NBA videos.